All right. Welcome back to the Spurs and Spreads podcast. Finally back, guys, with the Turkey Tour episode. We've been pretty busy traveling the country over the past few weeks. We even took the wives to Punta Cana. We've been turkey tired over the past few weeks, but we have been having a lot of fun, killing a lot of turkeys, and we got a big episode today. We're going to talk a lot about our trip where we didn't know where we were going and ended up headed up to Wisconsin. How a lot of things go on there, and then we're gonna have a part two episode where we have original turkey thug Clay Beck coming on, and one of his sidekicks Brody Bowes, who has done some videography for us too. But I'm Adam Ryan. I got Chaz Brown, Patrick Castleman as always, and now Scott Pulowski on there, who was with us every step of the way. So what's up, fellas? How y'all doing today?
We good.
Y'all got something up your
Good.
sleeve? I can tell you're all grinning. What are we
No,
doing?
no, I'm just excited to see y'all again.
Mm-hmm. Y'all have separation anxiety?
Yeah.
Man, I've
It's
been with
been
y'all for like
about
a
I was,
month.
I was about sick of y'all.
Yeah, I'm about had
yeah.
enough. I was a little grumpy.
So we spent
Uh,
how many total days did we spend together with Punta Cana and the
Uh,
tour?
man, I don't know. We
like 13
a lot, a lot.
with a 2-day gap in between.
We had a
Yeah.
lot of fun in Punta Cana. That was a thing for the wives, the snakes. They forgot all about it about day two of the turkey tour. They forgot all about that and reminding us how lucky we are, and we are, for them to take care of the kids at home while we go and play and do things we like to do. But we had a lot of fun. It was worth it. Oh, Eddie D was with us too. I called him earlier. I said, I may do a little surprise call on you here in a minute. And he said, oh, okay, I might do that. I got to take Mama to the hospital, but we're going to the doctor. But I'll do that. And I said, all right. Anyway, so I guess we start off. I mean, we didn't even know we went to Punta Cana, had a blast, fun. Wise had a great time. Wife's 40th birthday, that was unreal. Planned on doing. We found that we're really bad at planning. Terrible podcasters. We were going to do one in Punta Cana, and that whole trip was kind of a blur. So did some scuba diving, had a lot of fun. Then literally we get back on a plane, come back. We have one day of work. I think I do a baseball tournament, and I am in the truck, and we don't even know where we're going. We're
That's
just
what's
no.
so unique about the whole thing is the actual geographical selection of the whole process there. I think we got 2 or 3 hours out and we still couldn't decide. I
This
don't
whole
know.
time we were going to
Me
Kansas.
and Scott decided before we went to Caledonia that we was going to do Wisconsin because of the tag situation. I thought it made most sense, and from the little bit of the research we did in Wisconsin, it just sounded like it may be a little better thing for us this year.
It was something new. I mean, it was fun, and you were right. I was not wanting to go. I was like, I don't. The weather's going to be bad, and it was, and I was concerned because we didn't even know what part of Wisconsin we were going to. We just picked. We annexed it out. That was kind of crazy too. Me and Scott
I had
did
to look
all
out
the
for my
legwork
boy
really.
Scott. He was wanting to slack something. I could tell on the
Yeah.
way to Caledonia. He didn't want. He didn't want to do Kansas. I could tell. I said,
Scott
okay,
didn't have a tag
I'll
in
vote
Kansas.
Wisconsin until the end.
Yeah,
I think Scott was the one that wanted to apply for group tags in Kansas.
Uh-huh.
And Adam jumped the gun.
I think we've already addressed this, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Scott got to defend himself on that, though. So.
Yeah.
What do you think, Scott?
No, so yeah, I was just
The group.
where you can apply as a group and either everybody gets it or nobody. We didn't do that this year. Maybe next year we'll go that.
Yeah, they blame me for this, but I
Kind
don't
of
know
jumped the
that
gun on that one.
I think we were just scared we weren't going to get a tag at all, and we didn't.
That's
have a plan
right.
B.
That was the fear of the whole group thing. I think is everybody was trying to make sure.
I
they
really
got
thought
tag.
that we were all going to be able to get one more likely individually, but really, if we had thought that through, we weren't going to go if we all didn't get a tag. I mean, that wouldn't have been fun for anybody.
Well, we were talking about the tag situation, but when I don't know, it's just always it's always some
I know
Yeah.
what you want to
mess
say.
on the roads. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's all,
Yeah, we got a word for that. We're not going to
it
say it on
never
the
fails.
PG-13
It never
podcast.
fails. You've always got so much BS to deal with, especially with these states that change the state laws for the out-of-state hunters. That's what usually puts a wrench in things, and I guess it's designed to do that to us. So it's makes it a little more difficult.
That's kind of what's fun is figuring it all out. Like we just keep getting hit in the mouth and we just keep figuring it out. I think there was a couple days when we finally, like, once we committed to Wisconsin, and then it seemed like every time we changed where we were going, but find a campsite, because we have this 40 or 45-foot motorhome, Patty?
Somewhere.
45.
Patrick's very large motorhome, that we'll get to in a minute about how we chose to drive the motorhome, and then we got to find a place, and then of course we get there, and there's like this road closed section. We're 5 miles from where we want to go, and every time I turned around, it seemed like the GPS said we were 5 hours from there. Every time we kept changing locations, finally get there to this place that we think we can scout to, and road closed. Like we're like 3 miles from the place, and it's like this little country road. We're riding a
there was so much BS go on. I had forgotten about that situation. I forgot we were creeping over bridges for 3 miles coming.
Yeah, we're like,
Yeah.
is that
Worried
it says
about
9
falling
tons.
through.
It says 9
20
tons, Patty. How much tons is
A 20-ton, 22-ton rig, and we're looking around. Oh, that bridge to the left, 8 tons.
We got so scared we had to drop the truck that we were pulling and put me ahead.
Do some scouting.
Go
to
check
do
it
some
out,
scouting.
because you can't turn this thing around just anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
And we determined all the BS you run into, you can drive 20 hours
Mm-hmm.
smooth sailing. It's always about 10 to 30 minutes
before
you arrive at your destination. When you see a road closure or just some just bizarre, like we paid at Love's truck stop to dump the black tank on the motorhome. Anybody that camps, the black tank's a nasty tank. And
God.
we whip around there, and there's a Ford Fusion on blocks right in
Right
front of it.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we call. Yeah, we're not going to say that word. But anyway, we finally get there, and then I'm looking at the weather, and I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, it's about to be a tornado coming through here, and the wind's blowing 20 miles an hour. We got one good morning. Oh, and we get there, and first of all, in Wisconsin was nothing like I pictured it. Was it, Scott? I mean, what'd you think about Wisconsin landscape when we got there? I mean, different. We were in a different. I'm sure there's different parts of the place, but where we were, what'd you think about that?
I was waiting for Mike to step out in his Crocs and come.
I felt like I was in Florida. Yeah, I mean, it was swamp and mosquitoes everywhere. I'm talking Mississippi Delta mosquitoes. It was unbelievable. So we get out there, and we're finally out there. We're scouting that evening, and we can't find a place that's not covered in water. We can't. So we just end up finding some public where we can. We drop day, and then we have this one decent morning. We think that's going to be decent weather, and I don't know about y'all. I don't think y'all didn't hear a darn thing. I didn't hear a darn thing. Nothing. Me and Dad fought mosquitoes for 45 minutes, and then here comes the thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think we got to where we were at a couple of weeks too late, as far as that area.
Yeah.
But well, we figured it out real quick on how to.
Yeah. So where the story, after we sit through the tornado.
No property owner names.
Yeah,
real nice fella. Real nice fella.
Nice fellows. But no city names, nothing like that. Okay, so we're sitting here and we're riding around. Finally, the second morning, I think after busting our butt, I hear a bear one time on land. That was fun. That was a new experience.
Can we hear what that sounds like?
I don't know. It scared me to death. I was like, I'm out. And Dad was like, I said, there's a bear, and he can't hear. And he's like, well, let's go. And I was like, a bear. He was like, oh, I thought you said a bird. No, okay, let's go. He turned right around. We went to
I remember pulling Googling the list of predators. I always do that when I get in some unfamiliar territory.
Yeah.
And it's got the mountain lions. It's got the black bears. It's got coyotes,
wolves.
It's got everything that you could possibly imagine up there. So That's always good when you get about 3 miles deep into 40,000
Yeah,
acres.
and you hear an unfamiliar sound. You know, and there's a lot of people used to bears. No, we don't have a lot in Mississippi. We're not in Alabama. That's not our.
I was so sick of the mosquitoes. I'd have took a bear.
No kidding.
Mosquitoes
Yeah,
were so
bro.
bad. I think I'd rather seen a bear.
So anyway, fast forward and through all that mess, and we sit through the monsoon that night, about get blown away in the motorhome. Tree falls right by the darn motorhome. We're like, boy, this is a disaster. Wind's going to be 25 miles an hour tomorrow. We get out. Same story. Me and Chaz just stop, call, all over the place. We can't find a place that isn't covered in water. Nothing. We got a lot of hoot owls. Chaz is real good at calling in hoot owls. We got that going. Oh, hooty hoo over there. And then we finally, he's like, you know what? Just get in the truck. Let's ride around. Dad said, I ain't even going. It's going to be 25-mile-an-hour winds. Y'all have fun, you know. And we're like, you know what? The heck with it. Let's just get in the truck, ride around, look for some fields, and we're going to try to get some permission. Like, this is just insane, you know. We going down the road. We see some strutters out in a field. Is this the second? Am I getting ahead of myself? We see some strutters out in the field, and then we had already seen some on some private the day before, right? And that's where me and you ended up.
Yeah, we was on next, and then we kind of had a target list on who we.
That's right. So we had already tried to stop, and knock on door, no answer, knock on door, no answer, knock on door, no answer. And we're thinking, like, what are these people gonna think? These random guys in camo and boots and from Mississippi and Alabama. Who the heck is this? So we do find some more strutters. We find out who owns it. We go to their address. We knock on the door. Nobody's home. I see the neighbors right there. Thank God. We go in, and the guy's like, he's looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, what does this guy want? You know? And I'm like, hey, we're from Mississippi. How you doing? I knew it was going to be kind of awkward. And I was like, you know, we're doing a little turkey hunting. We came up to get a Wisconsin bird, and I said, "Do you know who owns that property over there?" And he was like, "They do right there." And next thing you know, he turns around. He's putting his boots on, and he turns around to his wife, and she's like, "You can hunt my 40 acres right over here." And I'm like, okay. So I wasn't asking, but that sounds great. I appreciate that. I didn't know where it was. Me and Dad ended up killing a bird on that one in about 15 minutes a couple of days later. That's how that panned out. But in the search for this, as we're riding around looking, and I want to say we're starting to go get breakfast, and finally we start going down these roads where we had seen the turkeys the day before, and just looking for turkeys in fields and asking permission. Well, lo and behold, here comes our guy going to the mailbox. You know, they were like, stop right there. So I'll pull in and roll down the window, and Chaz takes over. Chaz, what'd you say to our really nice
I just have to let him know real quick. I just have to mention turkeys to him, and we were interested, and he goes, oh, knock yourself out. We killed 6 of them, you know, and we're done. Y'all go ahead. We'll
kill as many as you want.
I think we shot about 10 times in a day and a half on this.
Clay said, you Mississippi rednecks need to get out of there before y'all kill all them turkeys.
He said, y'all go over there. I guarantee you'll see some birds over there. So me and Chaz got out. I'm kind of facing one way, and Chaz is facing the other. And Chaz hits the slate call a couple times, and he goes, turkeys are coming. And I said, man, I hope so. I sure hope so.
Because we've had.
And I looked up, and I was like, oh no, he means they're like physically right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm bad to be like, yeah, we'll see one any minute. He's like, they're coming.
That comes into the Wisconsin Whiff that went on. So I've never, and I was thinking about this last night, Patrick, that I've never had that many sets of eyes on me in an open hardwood bottom.
And they were scattered. They were at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, and you talking about responding to a call. I mean, we just sat down at this random tree.
Keep in mind, these birds have been hunted. Been hunted. They killed 6.
Yeah. And so, anyways, we hit it, and we're just freaking swarmed. Here comes a hen trying to find us. She almost runs into us.
Yeah.
And we're sitting wide open. Patrick's facing the field. I'm facing the hardwoods, and it was just so much happened so quick, and I ended up busting off on one that probably rushed the shot, but I didn't. I thought I was busted, you know?
It was like none of them were moving. Remember, none of the birds were moving. They were all sitting there looking like
telescoping.
I was like, God,
something's not right.
Here he comes, you know. And that gobbler came through one time, and then worked back through, and I rushed the shot. But
so we've been hunting our butts off, and
same setup, same everything, and Patrick ended up killing that day. So. We
So-
we
That's
capitalized.
So in the same
neither-
place, y'all ended up killing.
That's neither here nor there.
That's neither here nor there. He was trying to fast forward to that Wisconsin whiff, wasn't he? Yeah.
Huh?
So no.
No, Chaz went ahead and took over. He knew it had to be talked
He
about.
wanted to. I got it. Yeah. That red dot didn't.
But I
help him.
mean, I still had a pretty good season, so I ain't complaining.
Yeah, you did. We're not going to take that away from you. But we can't go a whole season without one of them all coming back. So meanwhile, me and Scott are staring at a turkey across the road, and we hear boom. We're like, all right, they got one. Oh, look, here we go.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah. Those
That's
do
the
look
torch.
nice.
Oh, we forgot about the torch passing.
We went from 2 mornings not hearing
There you
anything
go.
got to meeting this nice gentleman at his mailbox, drop Patrick and Chaz off. Me and Adam literally drive across the road 500-600 yards away from him. We're walking down the road. Adam stops me and was like, there's a gobbler in the field. We start calling to him. He gobbles and we hear you guys shoot. So we worked 2 turkeys inside of 10 minutes after
And
2 more.
we have been hunting our butts off. Yeah.
That was a game changer.
Yeah. So me and Scott trekked this whole property, and we hunt all day, right? I mean, all morning. I mean, what, till 10?
Well, we didn't get permission until, what was that, 8:30, 9
yeah,
o'clock?
that's true.
Yeah, remember
that's
we
true.
already broke day and discovered on
That's
public
right.
and discovered this ain't it.
Yeah.
This ain't.
Is usually the most easygoing one of the group. Doesn't really. He's like, oh, it's fine. We'll just hunt wherever. We're sitting there that second morning, and he looks at me. We both got our masks down, and he goes, I don't know what we do, but this isn't it.
This ain't it. They're not
This
here.
is not it.
I think they've killed them all out here. I don't know.
Yeah, they did. If I had to bet, I'm gonna say off that public block that we all worked, I'm gonna say 6 or 7 of them were taken out of there.
Yeah,
You know,
we spent a lot of time.
It
and
wasn't.
saw a
We
lot
were
of
just
hens.
calling up hens. We didn't hear any gobbling. It was
Nothing.
We-
It was a bear. That was it.
Me and Patrick found 3 shotgun shell wads from where we parked.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so we weren't the
We were
only
about
ones that
2
decided
weeks
to hunt
late for the
Wisconsin.
draw on that one.
Yeah, we
really
weren't the
thought
only
it'd be
people that
kinda-
decided to hunt Wisconsin. Yeah, and that's no doubt.
Scott's
But-
got to pick his up. Whatever device you're on, it only picks up your audio when you
When
have
you
it.
pick it up, I can hear you. Yeah. So
Now-
what's funny is when Scott, this was real funny because we and Scott's only hunted. By the way, we've only hunted 3 times together, and we are 3 for 3. Just FYI.
Started out though. Don't jinx it.
I'm knock on-
Yeah,
knock
that's
on
how
wood.
we started. And then
It's
we
a
fell off
numbers
pretty
game,
quick.
so y'all are screwed next year.
No, we're good.
Yeah,
I
don't
told
hunt
y'all. I
together
said
next year.
we were talking about this last year. We were like, I don't think I've ever hunted with Scott. I said, yeah, you're probably right. Or Scott was like, no, we hadn't. I was like, yeah, you're probably right. We'd probably kill all of them if we did. So
Probably
it's
kill all of them.
kind of is what it is. But we go out there and we don't really have any luck either. We finally sit down and Chad's like, all right, we're gonna pick y'all up. And we're like, we just got here. We end up, hunting around Scott. We finally get the lay of the land after we finally found a dry piece of land to go, and we figured out that the property that we got access to, me and Scott both had figured it out while we were talking to the guy, was joined to the field of the strutters that we had 5 strutters we had seen out in the field with no hens. So we were like, we're committed, and finally, I guess 2 hours, we had a Wisconsin whiff across the road. They talked us into come and eat breakfast. So we walk all the way back. I mean, it's a long, wet, nasty walk back. Get back, come around the truck, and I'm like, just turn right back there and look in that field one more time. And we turn in there, and there's 2 of those strutters of the 5 that we were there. And I looked at them. I was like, turn this son of a gun around. Me and Scott are going to kill this turkey now.
Scott was so defeated that we had to talk him into going. Remember that?
I actually forgot
God.
about that. Scott,
Go,
Yeah.
because y'all had that interaction with one.
we did. I forgot. We had one gobble,
Yeah.
and it's everything's soaking wet. And in his defense, and I felt very similar. I was like, I don't know where he's going to come. Was he going to wade through that water to get to us? Apparently so. Bird gobbles. I'm like, we have nowhere to sit unless you want to sit in the water. And we're in like a little clover patch, cut corn clover patch.
Yeah, he had a little shooting house where he had planted a deer green field out in front of it, and it was literally one little high spot with water on both sides.
Water on both sides.
That we had walked through, and I mean, it was literally you're having to watch your step because we're an inch from the top of our lacrosse boots, and
That's
I'm
right.
like, going to be a turkey walk through that. Well, we take 2 steps, and after he gobbled, sure enough, he came through it.
He came right through it.
That's right. Y'all bumped
I was
it.
like, let's just sit down in the middle of this field. And Scott, he's been pressing a little bit this year. I think I've never seen him that mad about it. He was so mad. I was like, Scott, you're gonna bump turkeys. It happens. Scott was like, let's move up a little further. And like I was in agreement with you. You were acting like I mean, I did want to sit down, but I just felt like there wasn't a good option. Like
You were already sitting down.
yeah,
I was like, no, let's move. I should have just sat down.
he was so mad. He
all
was.
worked out.
The best thing was the next day. Oh no, I'm skipping too far, but that was the best thing when we bumped the turkey and you threw your hat. Anyway,
We'll get to the
we'll
next.
get to that.
Scott,
All right.
Scott came and I was like, I thought, I was driving the truck and he hopped in there and told that story. And he was so defeated, dude. He's just bathed in defeat. And then you remember we pull out there because me and Patrick are hungry. We've already shot, by the way.
Yeah, y'all are going to eat. Yeah.
And me and Patrick are on Onex, and we thought that we just had the rights to this little block because remember that the LLC was
Yeah.
and so we screwed. We ended up talking back to landowner. He's like, "Oh yeah, we own go all the way back there," and all. That was the next day. We didn't know that, so we had boogered up the woods. So we was gonna get something to eat. So we were trying to rush y'all to get something to eat because it's like 1 o'clock. I mean, it was been morning.
After I had seen the landscape and I saw those turkeys out there, and when we were on our, I was like, turn around on our way back. I'm like, just pay attention to where they're going. Like, where are they headed? Are they headed closer to the road, away from the adjoining property line? Or they cut? Thank God they were cutting in on the wood line, and that was when I was just like, we are killing these turkeys.
Yeah,
so I was just committed. Scott, he was still like, oh God.
Yeah, we saw him. That's the thing. Scott's in there. He's just like, I'm like, what are you? He said, man, I should have, because Scott's so OCD.
Yeah.
And if you notice when you hunt with Scott, his setup is going to be, it's
got to be just
he's
right.
thinking so far ahead. And that's the reason he kills birds. He's thinking so far ahead. But on them out there where we're at, them Wisconsin birds, they coming.
I felt like when we were walking. Look, we took off on a very fast trek because we have to walk all the way to the back side of this property. There's no easy way to it. You can't just drop us off somewhere close and we got no. So we're hiking it, buddy. I'm talking about we are booking it. And I feel like the whole time Scott's just quiet. He's just like. He's still mad about what happened 30 minutes ago. And I'm like, and we're just booking. The whole time I'm kind of feeling like he doesn't even want to be here.
I didn't. I want
to. Didn't y'all go back in there the next morning?
He told me, he said, just pretend I'm not here because every decision I'm making isn't working. Just pretend I'm a 7-year-old. I was like, shut up. You've seen 100 turkeys die, Scott.
I looked at him right before he went because you were getting out. You were locked in.
Yeah.
Adam. You were like, hey, I'm going to go out there. I need to kill these birds. And Scott was like, kind of trying to sit in the truck. I was like, what are you doing? Oh, man. I said, get out and go kill those freaking birds. I mean, just go.
And we did exactly what
I
I
had to
said.
push him out because he was so pissed.
We finally got him over there, but I could feel the adrenaline starting to get back as closer as we got to. As he started to believe again, I could feel he's starting to. Yeah. He's starting to believe.
If he didn't have Adam with him the next morning, Adam kills that afternoon, right? And they go in there the next morning and they bump one out of the limb, and Scott likes to have a come apart.
Throws his hat.
Adam's like, "Hey, let's chill out."
There's another goblin turkey right over there. It's going to be okay.
Five.
Yeah, there's five with no hands.
We saw them the day before,
Anyway, we get to the woodline.
I'm just going to walk behind you and sit down, and you just hit me on the thigh when you want me to shoot. That's what I'm doing.
So anyway, this ended up being a great hunt, by the way, though. Like, we ended up going, and it is a long shot because these birds are like, I don't know, 300 plus yards away from the property line, and we got to call them across the property line and get them to us. And they're in this big field, and we're thinking this thing through, and the wind's blowing 25 miles an hour. I'm like, once I get there, I'm starting to think, dang, I just don't know if they're going to be able to hear me, period. And Scott's like, well, what do you think? And I was like, let's sit right here on this wood line right here. If they're going to come up, they're probably going to come up the wood line from the field. My whole thing is like, where are they going to come? I mean, they may be in the woods, but with it being windy and with it being the way I just being out in the field, that's where they were. That's where they want to be, right? They're safe inside that field and they can see further away. That's my whole thought. And they always walk there just like chickens. They always walk the wood line. Well, that's what I was telling them. I was like, if they can hear us, they're going to come right up that wood line right there. And we had this really old place that was kind of messed us up, this old little fence. But we kind of figured, well, they can't walk through that, so they're going to have to walk down this fence to this one. We only had this one little opening that really we were, after about 20 minutes, 15 minutes of sitting down.
Come into the wood line to be on our property.
So yeah.
We're looking at the field, but we're like, when they get up here, they're going to have to come into the wood line before
on our
we
property. That's
shoot.
Right. And that was the whole idea. I was like, man, I don't know. Maybe they'll come through the woods. I don't know. Maybe if they come and if they can hear us, because the wind, again, I mean, it is hurricane force winds out here and 300 yards. And all of a sudden, I mean, I'm calling as loud as I can, just, and Scott says, you hear that? I was like, didn't hear nothing. And he was like, next thing you know, you could hear it just very, very faint. When you know it's a gobble. And I was like, oh yeah, I heard that. And I said, well, they must have heard us. So then I start calling loud again just to make sure they heard us. Well, then they cut the distance in half, and it's 100% a gobble. And we're like, okay. And I think I called I don't remember if I called again, but then I was like, all right, I'm going to shut up because they're looking for us. And because it was so windy, I wanted to call some more just to make sure they could pinpoint where we were, And dude, they did right what we said they were going to do. They came right in, and then I'm gonna let Scott tell the double up X or whatever we call this, the almost double up,
almost a double. But
so Scott, keep in mind, Scott has not had he did get his grand slam this year, so he's had a great year, but he's had a few putts going on this year, a few things, and I knew that, and I was like. He said he's had 5 putts this year, and I knew that going in. And anyway, sorry, Scott, go ahead.
Let him tell it.
Oh no. So going back to what we were saying earlier, if you hear those turkeys gobble, they're not like Alabama turkeys. You better sit down. So They came 300 or 400 yards in 3 minutes, 4 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
Last series of calls, they gobbled. They sounded pretty close. And Adam said, I'm not going to say anything else. They're looking. So we're just scanning through the trees. And I'm like, oh, I think I see something. Turned out it was a deer. Keep looking.
Yeah, I forgot about the deer. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, so I see the turkey. So Adam's like, I'm like, they're coming into the tree line. He said, all right, well, when you get a shot, shoot him. I was like, okay, I'm on him. So I was like, he's coming towards me. I'm just going to let him keep coming. So he gets to the tree line where we can shoot him. Comes into the tree line, and I see another turkey in the field behind him. So I said, Adam, there's 2. I was like,
Scott,
wait.
Being the unselfish hunter that he is, he's like,
said,
there's 2.
Let's both get in here. I said, I'm going to shoot the front one, you shoot the back one. So I said, you tell me when you can shoot your bird when he gets in the tree. So they're coming. I told
you one more time, I was like, if you get a shot, you take it. You were like, no.
Adam kept telling me, shoot him. When you've got a shot, shoot him. And I said, no, we're going to kill both of these. I said, just wait. They're, 25, 30 yards at this point?
Yeah, they're not far. No.
The first one comes in, and I said, you let me know when you can shoot. So, of course, true to form, when Adam's like, all right, I'm on mine. Are you ready? My bird was behind a tree. And I said, no, I can't shoot. So that was the 5th putt, that bird.
Oh, yeah, he did putt.
I don't know if he heard us talking. There's no way he saw us. He was behind us. The size of a Volkswagen Beetle, waiting for him to come out. Well, he putts and just kind of, and just kind of starts walking back towards the field. And I told Adam, I said, you better shoot your bird if you can shoot him. So he shoots his, mine starts running. I kind of wheel around and take a pop shot at him as he's running off and don't end up getting him. But we got the one bird. So
we did get the one.
It was really good.
So there was 2 Wisconsin Whiffs. I forgot about that.
Well, the bird was on the run. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
Type deal. I wouldn't really call it a whiff.
Just like the one in Florida. That doesn't count.
It was a
fast forward to that was the day before. fast forward. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the next day. Right.
Oh
That was
God, yeah. We need to talk about that. That
was day
really.
4. So the next day, yeah, that's the last day in Wisconsin is when
We have
Scott,
one more morning in Wisconsin.
yeah, one more
that's right.
morning.
It was the
Scott
only
climbed
pretty
the hill.
day. Remember, it was like the best weather day. We had to leave.
It was
Beautiful
beautiful.
day.
We had
Yeah,
rode out tornadoes and it was just beautiful.
And we have to be in Nebraska that afternoon.
that
So
afternoon at 6.
8 hours away.
I'd have
from where
loved
we
to
are.
stay 3 more days there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I would have
God.
too.
But,
We'd have killed another 3 or
We
4 or
we
5.
really we had 24 hours. I mean, y'all were saying a couple days. I mean, it was, we didn't get permission on that property until 9:30 the second morning. We were leaving the third morning we said we could hunt until 9:10 at the latest.
Yeah.
So literally, we only had 24 hours on that land. Only got to break day one
Yeah.
morning.
And then me and Dad hit that. I'm not going to tell those story, but me and Dad hit that 40 acres that the first person gave us permission on. Having same scenario. Turkeys 300 yards out in the field. They drop us off.
that afternoon.
That's
the
right.
first-
The afternoon before the last morning, and so I don't have a gun because I've killed one, and same thing, same exact thing happened. Just called from 300 yards. Thank God the wind wasn't blowing. The bird comes on our property and just Dad smokes him, absolute dust him, and Scott disappeared.
Yeah.
Scott,
So
get out and get on.
I'll fast forward to
I want
Patrick's kill
Okay.
the last morning because, anyways, me and Patrick started on the same side of the road, same setup, as the Wisconsin Whiff, my miss.
Yeah.
And so we kind of did our research and we felt a little better about it. And I said, look, I got to think about it. I never had that many eyes on me, but, we're just going to ride it out and see if we can get one tight this time. We ain't going to do any, 55, 65-yard shots in hardwood bottom. But we're going to need to let them get in on us. So we brought 2 chairs just because we're going to be patient. We wasn't going to try to make a move or nothing like that. Well, we get in there and, of course, a beautiful morning in Wisconsin, the first one that we had, just pow, pow, pow. We're hearing all kind of gobbling activity. And anyways, one ends up across, the one that we were on the day before ended up across the road. That's the bird that Scott ended up killing, I'm pretty sure. He was hammering. And then, but there's several more in there. We're still feeling good. And he cuts us off like one time when he was on the ground, and that was it. And we waited and waited an hour and 15 minutes, just being patient. We're on the edge of the field. We feel like he's going to come to us. Well, I get this idea we had started kind of towards the road. I said, let's just get out in this field, use this high grass, and we eased all the way back up to a different setup about 100 yards away, looking at down the slope a little bit. I wouldn't say a ridge, but a slope.
Yeah.
And so we get set up right there, and I think he answers this one more time. He wasn't gobbling a whole lot. They were gobbling a lot off the roost. They didn't say a whole lot once they hit the ground that morning, except for the bird across the road that I think Scott killed. That son of a was freaking wearing it out. And
and we're going to tell that. Yeah.
We set up, and we were just real patient. And about that time, me and Patrick had moved, and we had our chairs because we were kind of on the field, and I just since I had missed the day before, I was going to try my best to make sure that Patrick had his opportunity. I get behind him, and I can't even see anything. I just know that, hey, he's in the spot. He's going to kill him. Well, about that time, I'm like, golly, do we need to make another move? And there was a bird across the lake that we had found out that we could hunt. So that was gobbling real well
Gobbling
off
all
the
over the
roost.
place. Yeah.
And we about made a move, but I said, hold on just a second. So you know how you do, you ease up and you get right there around the back where you can talk to him in his ear.
Yeah.
And about that time, right before we got ready to get up, I hit that slate, go, and that sound, pow! And Patrick said, there he is. And I was still thinking that he wasn't coming because there's a ton of birds in this bottom.
Yeah.
Freaking, I don't know how many hens, jakes, everything. About that time, I was like, oh, there he goes. And me and Patrick looked up and said at the same time, I said, he's coming. He was freaking 55 yards
That's Patrick's
out there,
favorite
and
thing.
he is freaking, he is getting it right towards us. And I didn't say anything else. And I was waiting on Patrick because he shoots that freaking 12 gauge, with the scope and everything. I know he can knock them where he's at now.
Yeah, he usually
And I
knocks them
kept
down,
thinking
no
he
matter where
was, but
they're
he
at.
let it. He just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. Finally, he said, "Stop him," because I was hiding all the way behind the tree then,
Mm-hmm.
And I just eased that sled out here, and he stopped. Pow! He blew his freaking head off. And the whole thing about it, you're relieved you killed and everything, but you got to remember, I missed the day before, so I said, "Go get that bird. We're going across the lake." We didn't even have time. We didn't take a picture or anything.
He wasn't happy for you, Patty. He was wanting to go get his own.
I was thinking the same thing though. He's like, I hate to rush it. I said, no, we're gonna put this one in the truck and go get that other one.
Yeah, so
we were looking at the clock. We had like 30 minutes.
So
we had 30 minutes before we had to go. And we had a gobbling turkey that was wearing it out before, but we knew we were on one too. He gobbled just a little bit, and we knew that bottom. So, anyways, we scooped that one, and we look at him and everything. We send y'all a picture, and we drop him in the truck walking through, and we take off to the other side of the levee where the cranberry farm is, on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And but we get there, and and as soon as we're getting out of the truck, I hear him free gobble. I think Patrick was putting something up. I said, I think he just free gobbled. And I was thinking the whole time we were going to do the deed. So I get down and we get set up and everything, and he cuts me off. I said, he's coming. About that time, we hear the freaking tractor crank up.
Bulldozer, big bulldozer.
He rolls right. I'm talking about 5 yards from us, just all the way down that levee, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we got like 20 minutes, and so we get him back going. But I think that tractor pushed him far enough off. He
just wasn't going to come in anytime soon in the time limit that we had. You probably would have killed him.
We had to be in Omaha, Nebraska.
We had to leave in like 20 minutes.
We had to pick up a package at Sioux Falls, South Dakota Airport.
We had to get rattlesnake from the airport, Sioux Falls.
So the Wisconsin Whiff, and then this is less than 24 hours. The Wisconsin Whiff, Chaz misses one, and then me and Scott killed one, should have doubled, and then Patrick kills that next morning. Oh, no. Then me and Dad kill one that afternoon, which was an awesome hunt. I mean, anytime you can kill a bird with your dad, it was awesome. I'll tell the story probably on another one. I'll probably have him on separately, but it was awesome. And then the next morning, Patrick kills, and then Scott kills.
No, we killed first that morning because remember we were walking.
Oh, that's right. We were walking back, and we heard boom. The next thing we're high five.
I heard Patrick shoot talking about that gun, and I said, Patrick just killed one. He said, how do you know it was Patrick? I said, it sounded like a bazooka went off.
Sounded like a damn cannon.
That wasn't Chaz's 20 gauge.
Scott, let's wrap up telling the story about your bird the last morning where so the same place where we killed our birds across the road on the farmer's property, got to wade through all the junk. We had been debating on where we're going to start, whether we're going to start in the front because we had seen some gobblers up there, right? And then, but we knew that there was these 5 strutters back there where I just killed one the day before by themselves. And obviously, I think the plan was to kind of get in the middle of the property and just listen, right? And then we were kind of thinking the whole time the back side of the property was going to be it.
Well, the back side, it just looks the best.
It's not so much water.
That's the highest ground, beautiful hardwoods. You've got the big field back there. The field that was on the farmer that we had access to, and it abutted the field of the neighbor where we saw the 5 strutters. So it was just set up, just prime. If there was to be turkeys on the roost, we kind of felt like that's where they were going to be.
Yeah, and I mean, so we start walking back, and Scott's in front of me, and we're going, and he has definitely got the gun, and Lester's too. But I'm just there for moral support, really. We'll see how that goes. But then we're going down the road, walking down the road, and we do hear one. He's hammering. We're like, okay, all right. He's on the far back side of the property, if he's even on us, which we find out he's not on us. Roosted probably 100 and something yards off of us, maybe.
Yeah, probably 150.
Yeah, something like that. And we're going, and we start booking it. We got a long walk. It's a long way, but the wind's not blowing, so you can hear a long way. But then we get moving, and we come running right where we did, and all of a sudden you hear, Scott, he is so pissed off because we bumped one the day before, and
I'm in the front. Adam starts out in the front, and then I get a little antsy, so I kind of take him on the outside, and I'm leading at this
it's
point.
his bird, let him take over, and
Bust the turkey off the roost. That's when I just threw everything down and told Adam I'm gonna walk right behind him and just sit in his lap and just tap me on the leg when he went.
I told him, I was like, Scott, it's fine. There's a goblin turkey right there. He said he wanted me to go in front. He did not want to do that. And I was like, I can't guarantee you that I'm not going to bump one, but all right, here we go. But I do like to get as tight as I possibly can on the roost, as y'all know. And sometimes I don't. It works out. I just like to get as close as I can on the roost. And what is it, Patty?
We skipped a very, very
It's 42 minutes.
One of the most important events of all of turkey season happened in Punta Cana, and it was the passing of the torch.
Oh God!
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
I didn't really pass the torch, but go ahead.
We did
Tried
pass
to get it on video.
It was an involuntary passing.
to
of
Chad.
it.
Yeah.
I felt I was pressured. I was forced.
They were giving Adam heck about me
Killing 4
having the
Alabama
best
turkeys,
season, I
which
guess you
is
could say.
awesome.
And Adam just didn't want to admit that I had a little better season than him. And then we get up to Wisconsin, and he makes a play, so it's pretty even.
It was too little, too late.
And then
it was just too little.
Well, I
too
was.
late.
I saw 3
It's
turkeys
about
down
like
in about
LSU's
18.
about like LSU's baseball team last night. Just a little too late.
I saw 3 turkeys die in 18 hours, but
that was good.
But did the torch get past? My timeline's a little, all inclusive, all those free drinks. Did the torch get past before or after the pool punk out?
Hey, look, hold on. We got to tell Scott's turkey story. We're 43 minutes into this. I didn't get punked out. I can tell you that. I got forced out of there by Chaz.
I'm just going with what I was about. What I heard.
Nobody get punked out. Nobody got punked out or here. I've been. That still plays in my mind. By the way, I'm still mad about that. But we're gonna move on. We ain't talking about that.
Right.
So me and Scott killed a turkey, and Scott will tell you that. And I'm right there with him. He's like top 5 best turkey hunt I've ever been on.
He says that every time.
Yeah,
I've heard him say that 20 times.
Hey, I had 2 this year that were at the top of the list. Hamilton and this one. And
so we get going to this bird, and this bird's gobbling on the roost, and we finally find us a good tree where we can kind of see in a field, and then we can see in this open woods, but there is some thick stuff right in the middle of it, in between us and him. He's about 100, so we go as far as we can, same way, on the property line, and start scratching in leaves. We're trying to get in position, Scott. You can add him whenever, but I feel like you're trying to play chess with him here at this point. It's like you just kind of want to let him know you're there. I feel like he stayed in the tree a lot longer than we even thought.
And even when he got on the ground, he didn't move. That turkey gobbled 50 times on the limb.
My God.
Yeah.
He gobbled. I bet we heard 2.
I heard every one of them from across the road. Killing it. Yeah.
And
he's gobbling.
Yeah, dude. He would answer me, and then he sounded like he was further away. You know how they do? They'll turn. I said he's probably just turning on I bet he's still on the limb, and we're like, no, he's on the ground. I'm like, well, I don't know. I can't figure out if he's on the ground or on the limb or not. But I'm just being patient with him and trying not to call too much. Just he cuts me off, but he sounds like he's getting further away. I'm like, what do we?
He was originally we thought he was on the ground. He was just turning on the limb.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Finally got on the ground and he gobbled. I was like, "Ew."
Yeah.
That was,
and
I don't really like that. It was just very, very. But he was still answering us, still gobbling. Thing. This game goes on. Adam's calling to him every 10 minutes, just kind of clucking, kind of some light calls.
Yeah, I wasn't making a bunch of yelping. It was just. Pop, 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 pop.
He finally breaks, and the next time he gobbles, it's like, oh, he's coming. He's getting closer. He's probably 100.
But we thought he was
when he was
go
turning
left.
on the limb. That was me and Patrick across the road a couple 100 yards trying to get him to fly the.
We're on the other way. No, that joker, he came to the torch guy over here. That's where he came. But
you're a little tighter with him. You're a little tight. We're about 500 yards from him.
Yeah.
We're giving him a yep, though.
You know, we're looking at it, and me and Adam are both thinking, all right, if he comes out, he's going to come to this corner where this field's at. I mean,
That's
just
what we thought.
Well, he's gobbled to the point where the last 3 or 4 times he gobbled, we should be able to see this turkey. You know, he's that close. I'm like, we should be able to see him. Well, then all of a sudden Adam goes, there he is. He's moving to the right. Well, I see him, and a lot of thick stuff on our right side. We're set up pointing to the left, and he comes around and is in all of this thick stuff and just starts working right towards us and gets to 20, 25 yards, and I'm pinned down. I can't move. Every time he moves his head looking for us, I can see his snood flopping from one side of his beak to the other, and he's just gobbling in our face 20 times. Never does move, and I can't do anything. I'm just sitting there, and Adam's like, you want me to call? And I don't even say anything. I'm afraid the turkey can hear me breathing at this point, so I'm just sitting there.
This turkey's just staring at us. Just, I mean, it's insane. We can't do nothing.
He's strutting, and he would kind of strut. You know, he'd get kind of perpendicular to us, and I'd start to make a move, and then he'd turn back towards us, and I'd just have to freeze again. He'd do that, and he did that 5 or 6 times, and I kept thinking, just wait, don't bust him. You know, you don't need your 6th putt of the year, so just be patient. Well, he finally turns and struts away from us. I can see the back of his fan. So at that point, I was able to make a move, and he turned back around, and I had a hole about that big, and we were able to thread the needle and get it done.
Dude, Scott made a shot, dude. I'm not kidding. I'm sitting there like this with a crick in my neck, and then the whole time I'm like, it's been 20 minutes or so. I mean, I'm just like, I don't know what he's going to do. You can't swing on him because there's so much junk everywhere, and the bird's just been sitting there gobbling in our face. He won't move. He's just standing there. Just
he's at 20 yards for 20 minutes gobbling him.
That bird finally takes a few steps. He turns, and boy, he turns that fan backwards. And Scott, I said, oh, here we go. Boom! I take off, and I'm like, oh, I think I got the video. I hope I got the right one. Let me see.
We lifted the
That son of a gun stood. I said, is he ever going to move?
How many times did he gobble?
200, 300. I was probably exaggerating, but he gobbled a lot. I don't know, but that was my first thought was, how about that?
So finally, I had to lift the jinx off of the 28 guy. I told Patrick if one more turkey, he was like, what are you going to sell that gun to me for? I said, if one more turkey putts at me while I'm carrying this gun, I'm going to give it to you.
Done with it. So that was the final Wisconsin turkey. Then we had to trek from Wisconsin to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and we had a debacle on who was going to drive.
I can add that for part 2. I don't have that loaded. I should have done that.
Oh, imagine that.
You can do it real quick.
Imagine not having it
me
loaded.
It wouldn't work. It won't work. Guys, we got 5 minutes we got to do on part 2 here.
Do you have it loaded?
I didn't load it. I got in here and my laptop was dead trying to get going.
We'll show the.
But we were trying
part
to
2. Go ahead.
We were trying to figure out how, between me, Adam, and Scott, how we were going to figure out who had to drive the little 6-hour trek from Wisconsin to
driving a motorhome in the wind's not fun.
So we were like paper, rock, scissors. Well, that's not really a 3-way. Well, arm wrestling. Well, you can't really do that. And Adam, being a ex-Division II running back, decides
with a torn calf muscle.
He wants to do a foot race. So
in my head, I was not
Chaz
losing.
has it on video. Chaz, when Adam said foot race, Chaz lit up like a Christmas tree, and he starts stepping it off. He gets his cell phone out, he pulls his video camera up, and he starts stepping it.
It's going to be a race. I couldn't believe all y'all agreed to race one of 40. You know, I was like,
it was like a 25.
This is great. So we stepped it off on that little track in the park. And by the way, I felt certain that Adam was gonna not lose. I felt certain. I don't know why. I just felt certain.
Well, normally if somebody brings up a competition, it's something they're good at. You know?
Yeah, I did. I felt.
I didn't realize I was 40 years old.
We're gonna fact is he was a running back. I was like, man, Adam's not driving this leg.
Honest to God, truth. I was not losing him. I didn't think there was a way that was going to
So,
happen.
so Chaz, what
But I
happened?
did.
Since he won't.
Apparently, I've lost a step or two.
Yeah, to say the least, because we started off, and I got it, and I was like, just off the top, you had Scott come out the gate so hot. He was like getting it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, Scott.
And then everything happened so fast, but then it was Patrick and Scott right there neck and neck across the line. I thought Scott won, but we looked back at video footage. It looked like it could have went the other way to Patrick. But long story short, and then I had to do this to Adam because he's getting smoked. I had to
put it on.
I said it. I was like, I'm getting smoked.
He getting smoked. He got smoked.
I figured it was in slow ass Nikes.
That was the worst 6-hour drive I've ever had to do. All right, guys, we got to wrap one up because we got on part 2 of the turkey tour. We go to White Oak Outfitters in Mills, Nebraska. We're about to have one of the original turkey thugs, Clay Beck, on here in just a minute, where we're going to ask him a lot of questions about it, what they used to do back in the day, how we had something. I think he showed us some videos where he had the Tom Kelly with him and Cuz Strickland, and we're going to have our boy who likes to do a little videography out there, one of his main guys over there, Brody Bowes, on as well. So give us just a few minutes. We're going to wrap it up and head to part 2.